Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's May 29th, 2024, and today we're going to take a look at our fig trees that we overwintered here last year in sort of a part of a hedgerow design, and we're going to be looking at some of the plants in our living fences on two different sections of our property here. Last night I published two articles to mindfullivingsanctuary.com. There's no hyphens or spaces there, just mindfullivingsanctuaries.com. The first article that I posted was related to a video I posted yesterday, which was about choosing the right piece of equipment for the property to meet your needs on your property, whether you're a farmer, homesteader, whatever at all. The other video that I posted had to do a little bit with living fences, a little bit to do with hedgerows, but mostly comparing similarities and differences between farmscaping and permaculture. Now in the past I've posted quite a few articles on our old website, which no longer exists, on permaculture. I do have a few articles on permaculture as well. I took my PDC, Permaculture Design Course certification back in 2012 with Jeff Lawton. That was great, fantastic. But since my youth, I've been practicing biomimicry. And both farmscaping and permaculture share many similar characteristics. Permaculture can go right down to a very super small scale. Can be someone's a small little backyard, can even be a porch garden, can have to do with social and cultural activities. So permacultures are really both of them are holistic design systems, farmscaping and permaculture, but there are differences. For instance, permaculture is going to lean more towards organic, less tilling, those sorts of things, polycultures, guilds. It is a whole system, design system that can be very small scale to quite large scale, whereas farmscaping are often industrial size settings or large farm settings, using incorporating monoculture and heavy equipment for traditional farming, agricultural equipment that's being used commonly. So there's commonalities and differences, and I think both of them have an awful lot to offer. And so for farmscaping, it offers so darn many, hedgerows offer so darn many benefits. They're creating habitats for wildlife species. It can be productive trees and bushes that are there. It can mitigate the high winds or snow drifts, those sorts of things, just like living fences can. But when we think about hedgerows in the traditional sense, in a farmscaping, that's often borders between different fields and or pastures and areas and all. And we're using them now in even small farm systems to bring in the diversity of different beneficial animals to inhabit those areas, creating habitats, creating niches, creating plants for the pollinators, the beneficial, the integrated pest management systems using nectar producing and pollen producing species for the beneficial birds, insects, and so on, reptiles as well on your property. So what we're going to look at today is not just a living fence. It's somewhat of a hedgerow, but it's not separating two different spots on our property. It's actually separating our property from a neighbor's property. So it's at mindfullivingsanctuary.com. Sorry about the long intro here. So let's go over and see how things are looking. I haven't been over here in a few days. First thing I see is lots of mugwort right here, darn it. And there's a horseradish. These are fig trees that were overwintered. You can see the amount of new growth that's coming up so far on these ones. This is where this one was pruned back against. Now, it isn't time to prune them yet, but before too long, we're going to be pruning them over the next month. The reason is we're going to want to do apical pruning. In other words, pinch off the very top growth right here, which has to do with the growth hormones, auxins, and that'll trigger the plant to do less vertical growth and more side branching, but it also triggers the plant to start setting fruit as well. So one of the things, so we had this under leaves, so we got leaves from our community cemetery. The town came and picked up the leaves and brought them here for us, and we used the leaves underneath this hoop system to insulate them. But this year we had quite a few mice and voles that did a fair amount of damage to them, so we really had to cut some of these way back. But you can see figs are really hardy and they're going to keep coming back. And so we'll go down the line here a little bit further. So the fig trees are looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with them. They are quite a hardy species. So you see there's probably close to a foot of new growth on them in the last couple of weeks. And I could pinch these off now, and I may do this in the next week. I've got a full schedule of work to do in the west garden plot, some in the central garden plot, and other places on the property. But let's take a look at behind here. Is the property, so the property is a slope from the northeast corner of the property going down to the southwest part of the property. Now this I built up over the years, but we'll walk over the other side of this to where the property line is. And down here, the first thing you may notice is lots of leaves in here, but then we have all the comfrey. So this is Bach 14 comfrey planted all down here. There's also lemon balm and chives and other ones. And then we got oak trees, maple trees, locust trees, the thornless honey locust, another maple, some black locust down there, oaks, maples, black locust, and honey locust is what I can see right now. And here's one of our black locusts right here. And we got our elderberries here as well. And then this is where the original fence line was. And some of these are pretty small now because they were just put in last season, but this is a curly willow. The curly willow here. Curly willow. Curly willows here. Curly willows. And we can start getting down into some of the bigger curly willows. So all of these plants will prevent erosion, bring in beneficial insects, provide a windbreak as well in the future. And you can see the change in elevation. Here we are here. That's about 4.5 feet above the ground level that I'm at right now. And it works out pretty well. And our winds, big winds, come out of our northwest up there. And the tree line is far enough away that those winds really whip across here pretty significantly. And then we get down to here where it's 6 feet. So this is all built up. That's all hula culture underneath there. Lots and lots of logs building up this this area here. And you can see this is the natural slope of the property for our neighbors right here. So having both a root zone, like there's the comfrey has a root zone, the horseradish has a nice root zone. Then we have a herbaceous layer or bush layer as well, and so those are these plants here are fig trees, and then we have our sub canopy or canopy trees as well. So it's not quite like a food forest, but it's more of a hedgerow and a living fence accomplishing multiple tasks. Now as we go over here, going up the other fence line, we'll be able to see some of the other things. So black locust, elderberry, lilac bush here. I'll do some more work in these areas here. These are all elderberries in here. There's horseradish down in here, so this is more horseradish here. That's a multiflora rose, which we don't want here. Elderberries right in here. Curly willows. And you can see this fence is breaking down over time. And all elderberries, curly willows in here. We'll go up a little bit further. So it creates this hedgerow in a sense that's separate, and it's a fence, and it's separating our neighbors and all. So there'll be more low ground cover plants as well in the future. And more elderberries here. Now we're getting into more hugelkultur pits all the way up the rest of this section here. These are high bush cranberry plants. They just got done flowering, so they're getting ready to set their berries now. And they're big, bushy plants. There's a staghorn sumac. Here's lemon balm down here. It's lemon balm. There's trees, honey locusts, oaks, all planted in between each one of these big bushes here. And of course there's mugwort in there. There's some Jerusalem artichokes down there. There's a few flowers left here on the high bush cranberry plants. I really do like these plants. I'm going to propagate more of these. They're pretty amazing. It took just a few years to get them to this size. And some of these ones we just got done planting. So then we have over here, we have the different persimmons and pawpaws. This is a persimmons here. It's in this tree tube. Another high bush cranberry. Another one. Another one. You can see when they're this size, the deer browse them like crazy. Another one here. Big ones. And hopefully the wind isn't too bad here. This is our commissant. Now these are all black currants. So you can see the berries on these things just get loaded as well. So now we're getting into a whole black currant section going up here. And in between all of these, there's various trees planted in between. Here's a magnolia tree. This is a nice white flower magnolia tree. Pretty good size. I put this one in maybe 16 years ago. 16, maybe 17 years ago. And these ones, so these are all black currants right in here. Lots and lots of black currants. We got our oak trees here. Another oak tree here. The red oak here. And more of our black currants. More oak trees here. An imposter here. I'm scaring. And so here is our Colorado blue spruces here. There's one ash here that's still surviving. So this is in a shady area, but these black currant plants are doing great along in here. And some of the trees planted in between are a little bit dwarfed because they're getting more shade in this area. But we just got to give them some time. Now we're getting right up next to the road here. And our fire hydrant. So that's a look at this living fence and some of its hedgerow at this point. We haven't taken down the fence that I put in 21 years ago, but it's decomposing. Pressure treated wood is just rotting away and all. but it's how things work out here, unfortunately. And these were all root suckers all along in here, and then we have chestnuts, hybrid chestnuts we planted in here as well. We just got to see. I don't see much going on with this. That's a persimmons there. But we'll go down here, and it's gradually reforesting the areas as we have the opportunities. And we'll be doing a lot with our oak trees in the future as well. So I guess that's about it for today's video. Again, the website is mindfullivingsanctuary.com. The two articles are the one on choosing the right piece of equipment, things to consider, my thoughts and all. And the other one is comparing and contrasting somewhat, very superficially, farmscaping, which is more of a traditional agricultural technique. It's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, maybe thousands, and certainly permaculture, which most people watching this channel are familiar with. So thanks so much for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below, and feel free to comment on the articles that we posted at Mindful Living Sanctuary as well. Take care and stay safe. Bye-bye now.